if Harris gets in, I think the month of November and December could be very good for Bitcoin. I think if Trump gets in, I think we have an immediate jump, because I think that means all crypto gets reevaluated. I think the SEC gets changed. I think the Elizabeth Warren choke point 2.0 plan gets thrown in the garbage. And I think we immediately jump to well above 100,000. I mean, very quickly. It wouldn't surprise me if we end the year up more like 140,000, 180,000.
In a recent interview on Fred Krueger's YouTube channel, Fred Krueger explores the top trends shaping the crypto world. He discusses the potential impacts of the upcoming U.S. election, how seasonal trends in October could drive Bitcoin to new highs, and the Federal Reserve's role in market liquidity. Additionally, the latest job market report from October 4, 2024, reveals stronger-than-expected employment figures, which may influence the Federal Reserve's next move. At the time of the interview, Bitcoin is trading around $62,000, showing a 2% increase in the past 24 hours but a 5% decrease over the last week. Before we continue with the rest of the video, do check out Daily 5-Minute Crypto Newsletter with all the latest crypto and Bitcoin news. It's a fantastic analysis of on-chain crypto data and breakdowns. And the best part is it's absolutely free. They'll cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news you need to know, all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description and enter your email to join over 50,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now.
I mean, we could just have an exponential rise. And by the way, these bubbles, even though the power law is not exponential, these bubbles are exponential in nature. As Giovanni's pointed out, the exponential on the way up and on the way down. So you have these 1% a day kind of moves up and 1% a day down. So that's generally the way I feel. I'm not playing this thing day to day. I don't trade the market. I'm just long Bitcoin. Sometimes I buy a little bit more Bitcoin. I think it's a good time to buy Bitcoin right here. You're below the trend line. You've got a possible catalyst on the way up. So if you buy and Trump gets elected, which the poly market odds are now saying 50-50, then you've got a really good position. It's great to be really in the money in Bitcoin, because then you sort of care less. It drops 20%, you don't care. If you just bought, it drops 20%, you're hurting, So it's really good to get your foot in the door and to have a position that's like profitable and has a big margin of profit in it. So I think this election could be that. Now, if it doesn't work out the way you want it, you're just going to have to stick with it a little longer. But I don't think you're going to have to stick with it a whole cycle or anything. I think you may have to stick with it 6 months. So I think it's an excellent time to buy. I think Joe Carlasali is optimistic on the in-kind redemptions. That doesn't mean you will necessarily be able to in-kind both contributions and redemptions. Will that apply to you? I don't know. It certainly the legal environment is going to change very favorably to Bitcoin in the next year if Trump's elected.
As we just heard, Fred Krueger touched on the potential impact of the upcoming U.S. election on Bitcoin. Now, let's dive deeper as he discusses the significance of seasonal trends and how the Federal Reserve's rate cuts could influence Bitcoin's trajectory for the rest of the year. This dynamic shift may either stabilize or propel Bitcoin as a hedge in the evolving financial market. Let's listen to what Fred Krueger has to say next.
And absolutely nothing for 6 months. While there's been all this excitement here, going up, going down, blah, blah, it's really nothing in the bigger picture scheme of things. But this huge move up, we've been chopping wood for 6 months. And really the next big move, up or down, has still yet to come. And there was reason to believe it's going to come relatively soon. So why do we think there's reason to believe it'll come soon? Well, it's the seasonality effect is pretty big. So let's take a look at the seasonality effect. Okay, and this is the crossover capital. Excellent source. We had the founder in here on Bitcoin Brain Trust earlier. But let's look at these numbers. They're pretty remarkable. We had 2 negative Octobers. We've had the last 5 Octobers have been good. The 2 Octobers in a presidential year cycle have been good. So we've just been having a very, very good month of October. I wouldn't bet against it. And if you look at these numbers a little bit more closely, you can kind of see these numbers are actually really good. 20% plus, 30% in 2021, 30% effectively last year. So could we move 20% in October? Yeah, I think we can. Now let's go to the power law. And this is just, there's not a power law. There's many interpretations of the power law. You can do it on block height. You can do it on a bunch of different ways, but it's all more or less the same. This is just my little cheat sheet. And the cheat sheet says that we are going to be we should be at 73,000 already. So we're definitely under the trend line right now. And, a year out, the 1 standard deviation is 211. 2 standard deviations, which we may very well get to, is almost 600,000. Do we think we're going to get there? I don't know. Giovanni thinks that there's as much chance of having a UFO visit you. I disagree. I think there's more chance of hitting 500,000 than a UFO hitting. But in any case, the next 90 days and then the next year after could be amazing for Bitcoin. Obviously, no guarantees, not financial advice, but I mean, this is looking pretty good. So yeah, that's my update as to kind of where we are. I also think JD Vance did great in the debate. I think nominally, if Harris wins, there might be an initial phase of, oh, I'm disappointed, I should sell Bitcoin. There's going to be more regulation on Bitcoin. I think that would be only very small, very nominal, and pretty soon the greater realization that money printing is going to continue will go on. And that'll be very good for Bitcoin. So I don't even think that realization is going to take more than a month. So even if Harris gets in, I think the month of November and December could be very good for Bitcoin. I think if Trump gets in, I think we have an immediate jump, because I think that means all crypto gets reevaluated. I think the SEC gets changed. I think the Elizabeth Warren choke point 2.0 plan gets thrown in the garbage. And I think we immediately jump to well above 100,000. I mean, very.
In this insightful discussion, Fred Krueger explains how the political landscape and Federal Reserve policies could drive Bitcoin beyond $100,000 in the coming month. We'd love to hear your thoughts on a few questions. How do you think the U.S. election will impact Bitcoin prices? Do you believe Bitcoin can outperform other assets in today's market climate? For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.